Hey friend, Brandon here. 2020 is turning out to be an interesting year for smartphones. On one end, you have phones starting at $1,400 like the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra, and then phones with surprisingly solid specs and build at $399 like the iPhone SE that just came out. It's that more affordable category that is the most interesting to me. Last year, we got a taste of how good a $399 budget phone could be with the Google Pixel 3a and 3a XL. It had a shockingly good software experience, a phenomenal camera, software updates in a googly version of Android, a great size with a solid polycarbonate build, and all at $399. It was so dang good that I constantly asked myself, how is this only $399? That's what I like to call an incredible delight to dollar ratio. Now the question is whether or not Google will be able to bring that incredible delight to dollar ratio with the upcoming Pixel 4a. But here's the interesting part that is so different from last year. The Pixel 4a XL isn't happening. It has clearly been canceled based upon found code, numerous reports, and a few leaks. We would never have seen the canceled Google Pixel 4a XL until now, because I bought it. Well, a part of it. Let's talk about it, because this is Tech Today. This video is sponsored in part by Raycon and their Everyday E25 earbuds. Click the link in the description below to get 15% off your order, or go to buyraycon.com/thisistechtoday. Please share, subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. I'd really appreciate it. So I should probably clarify how I found out about this. My friends over at 9to5 Google noticed that some parts for what is described as a Pixel 4a XL showed up on eBay. Why this is on eBay, I don't know. How it's on eBay is also unclear, but it seems like the most likely explanation is that the parts are from prototypes made while Google was exploring making an XL model before canceling it. If you want to buy your own, you can actually still do that. There's still a few on sale on eBay, and I have a link for that down below. So here it is. It came in a very unusual light box. I actually wasn't sure what it was. I thought it was just some trash that was sent to me because it was so light and it had a very flimsy packaging to it. There is this little tool set over here on the side too. I'm assuming that this is intended for spare parts to repair screwdriver, kind of like a guitar pick thing. Yeah, there it is. And some extra adhesive tape. Definitely intended for a situation where you ended up breaking the back of your phone. There is this little icon there that's not quite the Google logo. So there's a spot here too for a fingerprint sensor. So if there's a fingerprint unlock, there's probably a good chance that there wasn't a face unlock, because it seems like most of the manufacturers are doing one or the other right now. Or what's most interesting is the fact that there is a spot for extra cameras. On the leaks for the Google Pixel 4a, there's only one camera found on there, but there's two here. I don't know if that would be a wide angle one or if that would be a telephoto. I'm assuming that would be a flash up top. There's a little mic hole, and then that looks like a sensor down here. You have your normal volume rocker on the side, and then an orange power button there. Along the bottom, you also have a USB-C and some speaker holes. One other thing that I'm noticing is that there are little covers here for the speakers. Now, I don't know for sure if that is just a standard thing that you'd find there, or if that is something that you would find to help with waterproofing. I just don't see any gaskets or anything else anywhere else on the device to indicate that this would be waterproof, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out with the actual Pixel 4a. And then here's something that's really great. There's this little hole right there. That is the mic jack. Why is the budget one the only one that has that? Along the inside, we can see a couple different clips and rails there, some shielding. That's probably where the vibration motor went. Probably the most curious part about this is the fact that there was a plan for an additional camera in their budget model, which is kind of crazy. I don't know for sure if that's a date, but if I were to guess, that looks like it was September 7th of 2019 when this was made. On the opposite side of the buttons, you'll see a SIM tray there. Now, I'm curious about this part right here because I wonder if that's where the motherboard would have went. It seems to have a fairly intentional cutout there. That's just a guess. Now, we can't look at this piece alone. We have to compare it with other devices and see how different it is. I have the Google Pixel 3a, the Google Pixel 4 XL, and the new iPhone SE 2020. I'll have some videos on this little device here. I plan to really put it through its paces and see what you think along the way. All right, let's start with the Google Pixel 3a. In terms of size, we can see that the 4a XL, in terms of its body size, is only just slightly taller. In terms of width, only slightly wider. It doesn't have a two-tone back like on the Pixel 3a, so you can see the little glossiness right here. Interestingly enough, it looks thinner. Maybe the glass and display takes up a lot more room. The sides are a matte finish, unlike on the Pixel 3a, which has a glossy finish. The way it just feels in general feels a little bit bit more premium, surprisingly. A little bit more kind of like a Pixel 4 in terms of how soft it feels. Obviously, the big difference is the camera bump. So you have a single camera here on the 3A and then the square setup here for the 4A XL. You can actually fit the Google Pixel 3A within the frame of the 4A XL. And then here's the 4 XL, the regular one. It's interesting because the camera bump looks pretty dang similar. It's almost like they just inverted it. So you have your flash down here, a sensor up there, but in terms of the camera lenses, they're consistent between the two. So if we were to guess, that means that the left one is the normal angle lens and the right one is a telephoto lens. In terms of the frame thickness, they look pretty dang close, almost identical. The only difference would be the difference of this little bump here with the glass in the back. And then we have the new iPhone SE 2020. So, I mean, the big difference here is in a lot of the build quality and size here. So look how tiny the iPhone SE 2020 is. It seriously just fits inside of this and has room to spare. The build is a polycarbonate plastic on the Pixel 4a XL, while on the iPhone SE 2020, it's glass and aluminum, and it actually feels premium despite its price. And then the thickness of the iPhone SE 2020 altogether is actually thinner than just the frame of the Pixel 4a XL. So even though the Google Pixel 4a XL has been canceled, we do know a lot about the Pixel 4a, the normal size one. There are a few questions that come up when we talk about the Pixel 4a. When is it coming out? What are the specs? And now with the release of the Apple iPhone SE 2020, how do the two compare? We're not quite sure when the Pixel 4a will come out. We can confidently say that it would have likely shown up at this year's Google I/O, but that has changed with the cancellation of it altogether. If Google plans to keep the same timeline, that would put the release of the Google Pixel 4a at around May 12th through the 14th. Along with that, I am curious how the release of the Google Pixel Buds 2 was affected by the cancellation of Google I/O and why they were launched at a different time than the Pixel 4a. Speaking of the Google Pixel Buds, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified of when videos on them go live. As for the specs, it's probably good to check them out in comparison with the new Apple iPhone SE 2020. I would say the buttons on the iPhone do feel really good. We'll see how good they end up feeling on the Google Pixel 4a. There is this nice little volume rocker or mute switch that I really wish came to more Android phones. It is on OnePlus devices, but not on any others for some reason. Along with that, you can really tell how good the Taptic engine is on the iPhone SE 2020. It's phenomenal. It's better than any of the current Android phones out there still. So that's one area that maybe Google can work on for this upcoming Google Pixel 5. They have been focusing a lot on the Taptics. Now we can confidently say that the Google Pixel 4a will have a Snapdragon 730 processor, which is a mid-range processor. It's not even the highest end 865 processor from Qualcomm. And part of the reason for that is because that processor is so dang expensive. That's why you have these phones that have jumped in price by $200 or $300. You have to buy the processor as well as the required 5G modem on top of that. And then with Apple, you have the latest and fastest version of their processor, the A13 Bionic. Now that processor is so dang good that it's actually surpassing the quality and speed and everything else of any current Qualcomm or Android processor, which is pretty crazy, especially when it comes in a $399 price tag phone. Now, I don't believe that specs alone make the phone, but there's something to be said about the target audience for a device like this. Most of the people who are buying a device like this intend on having it for 3 to 5 years. I know someone who has literally had his for 5 years and is finally upgrading to this one. So having the latest processor and software updates that go for 5 years at least is quite attractive for that audience, and it's a really good buy for them. Essentially, this phone should last you a very long time. Now, as for RAM, the Google Pixel 4a is supposed to have 6 gigabytes of RAM, while the iPhone SE 2020 has 3 gigabytes of RAM. And interestingly enough, that decrease in RAM for the iPhone has affected the max performance levels of the iPhone SE, which has caused a few people to think that the A13 Bionic is downclocked, but that isn't true. You just have a little bit of like a bottleneck, so to speak. So does having more RAM in a slower processor or a faster processor with less RAM, which one matters more? I don't know. Maybe it's a wash in performance. We'll have to find out once we get the Google Pixel 4a in our hands. Now, as for the display, it's a comparison between an OLED screen in the Pixel and an LCD in the iPhone. The Pixel will have a 1080p 5.8-inch screen, and then the iPhone SE has a 4.7-inch 1334 by 750 resolution screen. As for screen brightness, I have noticed that the iPhone, it doesn't seem to get as bright as I want it to get, and even when we compare it with the Google Pixel 3a, it seems like the Google Pixel has a brighter screen. And then one of the things that you'll notice the most is that difference in screen size is quite notable. Like the screen size on the 3A is almost the entire size of the iPhone SE 2020. So while I think that this is a really, really great phone, the one downside that I have with it is the fact that the screen feels a little bit small. Now, as for storage, rumors state that we'll only have a 128GB option with the 4A, which really isn't bad. The iPhone SE 2020 starts at 64GB, but it's only $50 more for a 128GB model, which still doesn't feel like a bad deal. If you want, you can spend even more for 256GB for an additional $150 from the base model. While I don't really need more than 128GB of storage, I think it's nice to have some options. That might be a little bit of a bummer with the Pixel 4a. Now for the cameras, the actual 4a will only have one camera, so both of them have single cameras in them, and portrait mode only works on people on the iPhone SE 2020. The portrait mode will work on pretty much anything on the Google Pixel. It works that way currently on the Google Pixel 3a. As for the battery, they support a max charging rate of 18 watts, and surprisingly, the Apple iPhone SE 2020 has wireless charging. That's something that doesn't look like it's going to be there on the Google Pixel 4a. Now, we don't know for sure the battery size of the Google Pixel 4a, but rumors suggest that it will be a 3080 milliamp battery. The iPhone SE 2020, however, has a 1821 milliamp battery. Just no one's rounding over there or something. But anyways, it's quite a bit smaller. One of the things that I really love is the fact that the Pixel 4a has a headphone jack, while the iPhone SE 2020 does require you to have a dongle. And then you also have the fingerprint scanner. On the iPhone, you have it on the front, and on the Pixel 3a, you have it on the back. So it depends on what you prefer. I prefer it on the back. And then you have the software, which is obviously up to preference in many ways. With iOS, you have the benefit of an ecosystem between all the other Apple devices, and admittedly still iMessage. On the Pixel 4a, you have a lot of really googly type features like call screening, and a lot of other things that are based upon AR that are really, really cool. Now, regardless of which one you think is better, we do have to admit that both of these devices are going to sell like crazy. It's a great thing for all of us whenever there's a solid phone with the things that we need the most at a super affordable price. I have the iPhone SE 2020 here. I'll be testing it a bit, and I'm really excited to see how it matches up against the upcoming Pixel 4a. Even if we don't get an XL version of the Pixel 4a, we'll still get a Google-fied version of Android in a device that aims to give you the features and experience that matter the most to you at a great price. You know what else has a great price? This video's sponsor, Raycon, and their everyday E25 earbuds, which come at about half the price of other premium wireless earbuds, and you can get an even greater price of 15% off by clicking the link in the description. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Snoop Dogg are obsessed with them. They look great and fit great with a variety of colors and patterns to fit your style, and no dangling wires or funny looking stems, so they look compact, discreet, and stylish. I mean, I've been wearing them this entire video. They're a great option for video calls while working from home, working out, or listening to music and podcasts without distracting those that you live with. They even have a great noise isolating fit, so you don't hear everyone else either. The everyday E25s are Raycon's greatest model yet, and they have up to 6 hours of playback time with an additional 4 full charges available by using the case. That'll get you through the entire day. They pair over Bluetooth reliably and seamlessly, and have some deep bass and sound as good as many of the other top brands out there at a much more affordable price. Don't miss out on your opportunity to get them at their great price with an additional 15% off by clicking the link in the description or going to buyraycon.com/thististechtoday. Thank you to Raycon for sponsoring this portion of the video so I can continue to make content for you for free. So what do you think about this Pixel 4a XL part that I was able to get? Are you upset that we won't get an XL version of the Pixel 4a? Are you even excited about the Google Pixel 4a at all? And what do you even want out of a budget mid-tier phone like the iPhone SE 2020 and the Google Pixel 4a? Let me know in the comments and in the This Is Tech Today community Discord chat server. We'd love to have you. Thank you for watching This Is Tech Today, where we talk about the intersection of technology in our everyday lives, in business, and in all things creative. Until next time.